Coming up on today's video, we have 12 centimeters, 4 3/4 inches worth of keratin and wax removal from this patient's ear canals. My name is Rhys Barber. I'm one of the audiologists here at Audiology Associates. Thank you so much for watching our video today on earwax removal. Now, what we can see here is we can see straight off the bat, we've got the standard size on the tube in here. This is tough. This plug is a very tough old plug. Now, what complicates things a little bit is this isn't the widest of ear canals either. Certainly the entrance to the ear canal is not very wide, and you can see that by the size of the tube compared to the size of the entrance to the canal, which means we lose a little bit of maneuverability in here. So what we're doing with this now is you can see me almost scraping the surface, just dragging the suction tube down on the surface to loosen anything up, but nothing's really giving. So we've gone in here with a Jobson horn. Now, if you're new to the channel, a Jobson horn is a spoon-shaped object. Imagine a spoon with a hole in the middle of it, and that just allows us a visual so we can see through. But what I've noticed here is as I'm starting to pull what I thought was a plug, as I'm pulling this forwards, I can actually see this is strips and strips of keratin that have been almost compressed together. Not quite in the realm of sort of keratosis obturans, but I think obviously if the patient had left this, if they had left it a bit longer, we would start to be getting into that kind of realm. But what we have here is a plug that's filled with layers of keratin. So what I'm doing here now is just trying to pull this apart, but you can see rather than it pulling the plug forwards, what's happening is as we're pulling this section, this front section forwards, it's unraveling that keratin. We're starting to see the keratin just sort of pull apart and sort of come out in layers rather than as this big plug. You can see that case in point there. As I'm pulling this, you can see it's almost pulling the back end. So imagine you've got like a loop of rope and you pull into the loop in the middle. What it's doing is it's dragging that top end over so it's coming out of the ear canal. So it makes it a little bit more difficult to remove because you're still pulling here. We're still pulling these pieces. But you can see a long strip of keratin there has come away. Now we're in that little bit more of a deeper section of the canal there. I'm trying to get behind the back end of this. But as you can see, it's not really, it's coming away, but it's coming away in tiny little pieces. So sometimes what I like to do is mix the tools up a little bit. I'm going to give this a bit of a pull with the suction tube, but it's not really got enough power, enough suction grip to pull this out. So we're going to use the crocodile forceps now. This is great for these types of keratin removals. So I'm just going to get a good hold of this. There we go. Let's give this a little bit of a pull. There we are. We're teasing that keratin line or keratin ribbon out of the ear canal. We do line all this up on the paper with the rulers at the end, guys, so make sure you stay tuned to the end to see it all in one go. It's a phenomenal amount of keratin. I was worried we weren't going to have a long enough ruler because we only got a 6-inch ruler, but it's coming away really, really well. We're going to go back in now. We're switching tools quite a bit. So I'm going in with the standard size on the tube here, giving this a little bit of a wiggle. And what we're doing is lifting the keratin off the base of the canal wall here. There we are. Look at this coming away. You can really see those strips now. We have got this bit of wax, almost like a glue, if you like, holding and binding all this keratin together, but it's coming away really nicely. And luckily for me, it's working its way to the outer portion of the ear canal. Look at this. There you go. That's the kind of ribbons we're seeing in there. Some of which are a little bit longer than that, and they've kind of folded over themselves, so almost like concertina. You know, if you see something like, I don't know, whether you see like chocolate or caramel and they kind of drop it from a height, you see it kind of fold. That's what's happened in this ear canal here. So we're just taking this away. There we go. A bit more of a wiggle on this one. There is so much in this ear canal. Now, I've hit a bit of resistance here, so I'm going to switch tools now. We're going to go for the crocodile forceps. You can see it's just a little bit softer. It hasn't quite fully dried out yet, this skin. And it just means it becomes a little bit more sort of floppy, softer. So sometimes the forceps will just tear through it, but it is bringing the next section forwards, which is what I want to do. I want to get all of this out. Look how this is coming away. You can see just how long some of these ribbons are as we're pulling this out. So this patient, just to give you an idea, was just basically experiencing some hearing issues, understandably so when you see this. No other real symptoms though. They were getting, well, having said that, they were getting a little bit of an ache if they got some water in their ears. And that's just because when the water goes in, it's just the wax is going to expand basically, or you can get some water trapped behind it, and that can give you this little bit of discomfort that, look at that ribbon, that normally travels down into your jawline or up towards your temple. So it's coming away really, really nicely. Let's see if we can get the rest of this little bit of a wiggle on here. Oh, it's almost working its way out. you've really got to kind of wobble this up and down just to detach it from that canal wall. But we're still going on this ear canal. You can tell it's keratin by the surface of it. It almost looks a little bit rippled, almost like if you throw a pebble into a pond, you get that sort of ripple effect. That's exactly what it looks like when you start to take this away. So we've got quite a big chunk here. I'm gathering it all up into the end of the standard size ulnar tube. Out this is coming. Look at that coming away. There is some chunky pieces in here as well. And there we go. We can see the eardrum on this side. Stay tuned for the second ear canal. It's exactly the same as the first one. It was a real difficult one to do. But eardrum itself, so tympanic membrane, looks lovely and healthy in there. You can see that ripple straight off there. You can see that sort of, it almost looks like a pair of lips in the middle of it, if you like. It just kind of ripples over like that. And that's basically telling me this is keratin straight off the bat here as well on this side. Guys, don't forget, if you are enjoying this video, you can always like, heart, share, follow, subscribe for me. If you do have problems with your ears yourself, don't forget to check out the link tree in the description. If you're based here, someone picked me up on this and said, there's no much point in me looking at it if I'm based in the US. Well, maybe not to book yourself an appointment, but if you want to know a little bit more about us, it's all in the link tree as well. So it's worth having a little look at it. But if you do have problems with your ears, check out the link tree. But I'm hoping, fingers crossed, by the end of this week, the website will be up and running and you guys can actually reserve an appointment online rather than having to sort of call us in. You can still call us as well. We'd love to chat to you, but you can do that as well. Okay, so it's all coming away really, really well here. Look at that unfolding. Same kind of issues on the other side. When we start to pull this, we can see this is all starting to unfold. Look at that. There you go. You see it there unwrapping around that Jobson horn and pulling itself away there. So out this is starting to come. Oh, guys, I think for this week and probably next week, we're going to be Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday for the videos, just so you know, if you're watching this on Facebook and YouTube and Instagram. So it's probably going to be Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday this week for you guys, and probably next week as well. We might stick back to those days again, just because it makes it a little bit easier for me, but stay tuned. Make sure you hit that notification bell, that way then you get notified when the video does go live. So we've got this long keratin layer. Back to the crocodile forceps here. I'm consciously trying to slow my voice down as well. I've had a couple of comments saying I talk really, really quickly, which I'm afraid is this part of the world. We do speak very, very quickly here in Wales. So I'm trying to slow everything down just a little bit. Because I know sometimes, I know I've got, obviously I don't know, but I've got an accent, so which is not your typical British accent. So I know it's difficult sometimes if you're following from a different country to make out everything I'm saying. So I will speed up because I inadvertently will, but I'm trying to keep it a little bit slower. No, we've got a particularly sticky bit here now, just on the outside edge of the ear canal. Look at that, I'm really like turbo wiggling this out now, so really having to pull quite hard on this. But look at that coming away. That is a beastie. Look, we're still going. There we go. So we can see these really long plugs, so really long ribbons in sort of making up this plug as a whole. Look how narrow that entrance to the canal is. I just about get the standard size ulnar tube in there. And you do find, anecdotally I find, myself, I can't say for every other audiologist, but you do tend to find a lot of the ear canals have these very, very narrow entrances to the canals, do tend to have these issues with skin migration, you know, and keratin buildup, or very, very dry waxes. They tend to be the two. I think it's just because the wax can't naturally expel out the ear canals it normally should. Don't forget the ear is a set. Look at it, still tons of it in there. The ear canal is a self-cleaning mechanism. So normally this will come out very easily, but sometimes when you have very narrow ear canals, it just can't expel out the ear canal particularly well. So we're down to the deepest section here. Now this is all piled up against the eardrum here as well. So we're in this osseous portion of the canal. Osseous means bony, so the bit that's surrounded by your skull. So we're getting a good grip on this section. There we go. Look how this is coming away. You can really, really see these ribbons now. Look at that. There is so much. Look, there you go. I told you there were some long ones in there. There's still more. So we're still going. The patient was just as surprised as me that there was still more left in this ear canal. But it's coming away very, very well. There we go. Out that comes as well. And another one just pulling down. I've got to detach it here because this looks, where you see this sort of matte appearance to it, it's almost like it's a very, very sticky consistency. So we've pulled it forwards. Now we've got to try and maneuver and negotiate this ear canal entrance again. Now, I know somebody's probably going to pop in the comment section, why didn't you put some olive oil in? It's because of the narrow nature to the ear canal, the entrance to the canal. If I pop some olive oil in there, what's going to happen is it's not really going to get to where I need it to be, and it's going to sit in that entrance. Look at this. I will come back to that. I will keep my chain of thought this time, I promise. There we go, look at that coming away. It would just sit in the entrance, and when it sits in the entrance, that's all it's going to do is obscure my view, so it's going to make the job a lot harder. So I've opted to stay away from the olive oil at the moment, but out that's coming. Let's take a look. There you go. Eardrum looking lovely and healthy. Patient hearing, but look at that. That is 12 centimeters, 4 3/4 inches worth of earwax, and you can see that some of those parts of that, some of those wax plugs were chunky plugs as well. Guys, thank you so much for sticking all the way through that one. It was a long one, it was just one patient did it. It'll be just me again probably on Thursday, and then we'll be back to me and Taylor then on Friday as well. So as always, guys, take care of yourselves, take care of your ears, and take care of one another, and I'll see you again real soon. Bye everyone.